Um, Hello, Facebook, and we are live, and hello, YouTube, hello, LinkedIn as well. So we're live in 4 platforms. Thank you for being with me today on a Friday afternoon. I hope everybody is having a fabulous day. It's Juli, as usual, coming live with a weekly interview with one of amazing business partners that I have recently met in this community online for the moment. And if you guys don't know me, my name is Julieta. I work as an engineer in construction for many years now. And recently, a few years back, I started, exploring different areas, and it's the digital space actually. So I've become a business owner. I run my online business, and this is my space where I promote the business. I bring my interviews here, and everything you see here is business related. Also, we have some kind of personal stuff and whatnot, because we want to, we show ourselves we're real people doing a digital business, and in order to show that anybody can do this business if you're really willing to learn. So today I have a special guest. I will bring him in. Yes, and hold on, I'm gonna turn my camera here around. And hello, Elden, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for your time today. Hold on, I have my there we go. uh Great, it's an honor to have you here, because it's going to be kind of a bit of a different interview than what I usually do.
Okay. Well, thank
Well,
you very much for having me.
yes, absolutely. Thank you for your time. So, Ellen, what I like my guests to do is to present themselves a little bit and share, a little bit about their background, yeah, professional background, or anything they want to share.
Okay. So you just want me to jump in and start talking?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, my name is Elden, and as you mentioned in your post leading up to this, I do deem myself to be a serial entrepreneur, and I've done many different businesses, many different industries, and over the years, and really, so my main background, if I was going job wise, like employment wise, would be to do with, well, I guess that's lots too, but typically into doing sales and management and accounting. That's my background for my jobs, shall we say. But there's always been other stuff that I've been looking at, because I honestly believe that for most people in this world, having a job doesn't necessarily set you up for success,
Yeah.
for long-term success. And I'm not saying that because of our business. It's something I truly have believed for years, is when you have somebody else who's going to tell you how much you're worth, and you're limited. And I think my biggest thing was years ago, and I rarely share this story, but this is one of those stories that I think is kind of cool. So years ago, when I was really quite young, I was in a career in the accounting field, and I was offered a very lucrative position. Okay, so I was young, like I'm like I was young, and um, but the clause was that my boss had to approve the promotion,
Okay.
and so I qualified and everything else, but the boss didn't want me to go, so I was declined.
Oh, wow.
And the reason, honestly, was there was three people in the office, and the other two were having an affair. So I covered them off nicely. So, needless to say, after a very short period of time, I left that job. And it changed my career path for the rest of my life. So, that's kind of cool. So,
Yeah.
it's always a good thing. But that's about me.
Well, we always say things happen for a reason, and sometimes in the moment you don't see it as that, but in the end it turns out being a blessing in disguise, right?
Yep,
um,
totally.
yeah, you never know where, where life is going to take you, and then head in your future say, oh, you see, that's why this happened. And sometimes you understand it, sometimes you don't, but
Yep.
well. Here you are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
great. And Eldan, having been, doing different businesses, like you just said, what led you to an online business? Were your other businesses online as well, or were they more standard, like brick and mortar businesses?
Well, I've done them all.
Okay.
So and I wholeheartedly will say I've done most of them. So I've done brick and mortar businesses. Um, and honestly, I shouldn't say I'm not great at them. Um, I've done brick and mortar, but you're really, really tied down, like really
Yeah.
tied down.
Yes.
And I've done online retail as well, and that's okay. But then when you're doing online, you either have to do it all yourself, right? So you have to do all the tech stuff yourself, or pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And so I've done both of that too, because there's been times where I was paying people, and then it takes out away from your profit. But
So,
then it's a catch 22. So at the same time, if you actually do it yourself, then you most likely don't have the energy to actually carry through to actually run the business, right? Because you're dealing too much with the logistics.
yeah.
And so both of them have pros and cons, really, but I would never do either again.
Okay, so kind of, I can understand. In my head, I kind of understand maybe what attracted you to our business platform, but I would like you to explain it, because our business platform has a lot of that you just mentioned it done for us, right?
Yeah,
And that is, it's one of an amazing thing that a lot. That's why one of the reasons that many busy people who are having full-time jobs like myself, or having, I don't know, toddlers at home, stay-at-home moms, can are able to do this business with ease. And I would like you to explain that part.
sure, I can easily actually. So when I was looking for something, I and this part I always said I knew what I didn't want anymore, right? So that's what I was looking for. I knew what I didn't want. Not necessarily did I know what I wanted, and there's a huge difference in that one. So because on top of also doing the online and the retail, I also did trade show routes. I did, so our house was full of inventory forever,
Mm,
and I knew all of the things I didn't want to have, and I didn't want to worry about the tech. We don't have to. I
yeah.
didn't. I didn't want to have to worry about, you know um, all the tech. Make it. I didn't want to have to do my own website. I didn't want to have to do. I didn't want to have to carry inventory. I didn't want to have to worry about shipping. I like. There's so many things I didn't want, and so when I was reviewing this business and going, okay, right, and I wanted a nice potential um, money. I wanted to be able to earn money whenever I wanted to. And that sounds really, really weird, but I didn't want to be limited by anybody else as to what I could earn. I wanted to know what I could earn and do it myself. And so all of those factors came together, and this was a business that actually works. It's proven. And when I look at it and I break it down into all the components that mattered to me, and I'm going, first, I thought it was too good to be true.
Mhm.
And then I really got into it and talked to more people and saw in our community everything that I know you've seen too and you've heard, and all of the information. And I realized that it's everyday people. It's taking everyday people and helping them change their lives. And it's the best part, right? Because we don't just focus on the money, although the money is great and I don't ever want that to be taken away. But we also grow as individuals because of it.
Yes.
And when you combine that factor, all those components together, you end up with an experience that changes lives. And we all came here looking for money, right? I mean, you did, I did for sure, because when I was looking for something, I realized, and it was during 2020. I don't want to say anything else, but I soon realized that life was not going to be the way that I wanted it to,
Yeah.
right? And so when that happened, it was like I needed to change. And that's what brought me to this business. Is I wanted something that would work online. I wanted it to run when I didn't wasn't available to. or 24/7. I wanted all those things to work in my favor, and this does. And I mean, it takes work, right? It's not an overnight
No,
success.
yeah,
We're not going to promise people being millionaires um, overnight, because that just doesn't happen. And
no,
if anybody does say that to you, go fast the other way. But it's a solid, legitimate, firm online business that helps, and it's global. So all of the things, it ticked all my boxes,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I relate 100% with what you're saying. And one of the things I always say when I'm interviewing, or when somebody's interviewing me, is exactly what you just said before. We all come, or we start this business because we're looking for the financial part, but we don't see all the other parts that are given to us with the business. And one of them, at least huge for me, is the personal development part.
Oh, yeah.
You don't start a business thinking, oh, I want a personal development feature on it. You don't, because
No.
you're looking, because you're in need of something, you want to change something, and it is incredible.
Yeah.
And that is one, it's a huge value in our business, and it's developed whether you are like looking to develop it or not. And it has changed me,
Yeah.
like totally. And I really really like it, and I enjoy it, and I leverage that because it has changed a lot, and it helps too also in the business, absolutely. But yeah, and the flexibility, like you said, no inventory, no selling, no, no knocking, on doors or whatever. We don't have time for that.
Yep.
Already our routines are busy with kids, work, schools, whatever. We don't have time to add, like I would say, I didn't have time to add another burden to my already heavy bag, right, that I carry around every day. So I
Yeah.
didn't need that. But yeah, this really checked my boxes as well. And as you mentioned, absolutely. And you are a business owner. I mean, a previous owner of other businesses, your other businesses didn't flourish overnight either,
Nope.
I would assume, right?
Nope.
So
And
yeah,
and realistically, you're right. There is no, none of them flourished overnight. It takes time to grow. And I guess with this business, like everything that you said, I totally agree with too. And I've heard different stories and different versions of that too. Like, um, there was a doctor interview the other day, not in our community, but it was on the news actually, and about how a general practitioner doctor goes into it for the medicine, but ends up that they're actually running a business that they don't think about when they start, right?
definitely. Yeah.
And so, and in ours, it's kind of, it's not the same, but it is. So in ours, we are here to make money, we're here to start our business, but then we get the best part of helping to grow ourselves personally and professionally, so that we actually grow at the same pace. And that's
Yeah.
just super cool. I can't even say that enough, because and it fits into anybody's schedule. Like, you and me are doing this live, well, our businesses are still running,
Yes.
right?
And yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's our community and our business is designed to, um in the long term, because it does take effort in the beginning, and you have to work at it, but it's to help lift the burdens,
Yes.
right? Like, you were carrying your burdens with you, your bag with you, as you said. And with this business, it's to help so that you can take moments to enjoy more family time, to take more vacations, to live life,
Yeah.
because really we're here to live life, we're not here to work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as much as possible, at least.
Yeah.
So, like, we're telling people all these amazing things and how proud we are about this business. But in your day, how much time do you dedicate to the business? Like, how much time, does this take from your day?
It depends on the day, honestly. Like, in some cases, maybe an hour or two, or some days maybe 20 minutes. It really depends on the day. And so, as to what I do, as to how I do it, um, really, I know people, some days it could be 4 hours, um, but that's my choice,
Yes.
right? And that's the big thing. And I am a workaholic, So, and I'll admit that, and I like it. I mean, I do it because I like it. So it's not the same as having to go to a job and actually, put in your 8 hour day or 12, depending on where you are, what you're doing. So it's different when it's you and you're doing something. And there's a lot of components to this business that are fun,
Yes.
right? It's not like you're learning something new sometimes, you're doing new things, you're getting to be creative, and you're generally growing and having fun. And I think that is not in a lot of people's jobs, the fun part. So to me, it's a no brainer, really.
Yeah, and also helping, other people develop themselves as well and grow their businesses too, right? Because we do help each other. We're not business related, but you're collaborating with me. Maybe in a couple weeks, I'm going to collaborate with you, and then that
Oh,
is what we do. We love, to leverage what we do because. Like you said, it's global. There are billions of people in the world, so we want as many people to have this opportunity like we do.
yeah. And the cool part, so I didn't say that, but it is one of my favorite parts, is that taking somebody, helping somebody change their lives, and watching them go from maybe they've never been on social media before, maybe that or even like this live. There are people who oh, I could never do that. That's too scary. Um,
That was me.
okay, and then when you start doing it, like look at you, right? You've changed. You're
Yeah,
not and look at what you're doing too. So like you're on live on Facebook, you're live on Instagram, you're live on YouTube, and you're live on LinkedIn.
yeah,
That is when you started, that would have been petrifying.
yeah. I remember when I was, and I always joke and we laugh about it because when I was, talking to the person, and I'll get to the part when we advise people to do a research
Yeah.
before starting to see if this is a fit for you, because maybe it isn't, so, and it's okay. But when I was in that process, I was telling this girl, I don't like videos, I'm not going to do videos, I don't like this, I don't like that. And she was like, okay, whatever. And you don't have to, it's not mandatory, but
No.
but because people sometimes, yeah, like I would have gotten scared if I heard that 3 years ago, right? But you
But
end up enjoying it, right? And we're not I'm not here to pretend being a professional speaker or a journalist or whatnot, right? Not close, not even close. But I'm having fun, I'm talking to you, we're leveraging what we do, what we love to do, and connecting with people. It's the best, right?
so I just have to ask, because this is so I've seen, like I've helped people to do with exactly what you're doing, and a lot of other little components that I love, and that those really are so cool. And sometimes I forget, but I want to ask you. So when you first did your first live, no, maybe your second, first ones can be petrifying. Um, how did that make you feel?
Well, in I have the answer for that, but and it's funny because I was recently invited to talk about my interviews in one of our meetings, right? And then I said, "Oh my gosh, they're asking me to talk about the interview." So, and I searched the first interview to share with them, and I was like, "Oh my god." And it was I did that to my coach at the time, and I was so nervous, but she was amazing. So she said, "No, don't worry, it's gonna be fine," and it really did go fine. It's just that seeing it a few years later, you say, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible." But and then the second one, and then the second one came a couple of weeks later, and you know how I got used to really, when they say what is it?
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect. That's it. Exactly that, and getting used to seeing and listening to myself. And you might remember, when we were kids and playing with those little cassettes and recording our voices and then listening to ourselves and say, "Who's that talking?" And then it was
Yep.
you, right?
Yep.
Because you don't recognize yourself. Well, you have to get to that point, to recognize yourself. That's how I got, that's the exercise I did to get used to liking what I was seeing, right?
Yeah.
But but it's as simple as that. It's just that when it looks like overwhelming, but it really isn't.
But
And
you had a sense of accomplishment, right?
yes, definitely. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was fishing for, is like you had a sense of, hey, I did this.
Yes, definitely.
And that feeling is better than anything, I think.
Yes, and especially because that takes me to the part where when I was doing my research, I had a lot of doubts, and most of the doubts were about myself.
Hmm.
I've always worked corporate. I did the traditional thing: go to school, get a job, work for years for a company, the same or change, whatever. But that's it. I did not have the entrepreneur mindset, right? But that develops as well. That's something that not you don't necessarily are born with, but you can develop it.
Oh yeah.
And that, like, the doubts were on myself, so that takes away, the practicing part. It really does help. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does. It does, because
Yeah,
it changes you.
definitely. So Eldan, we always invite people, to sign up and watch our workshop. And with, I don't know how to say, coincidence. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it because I don't know how to say. But it's a coincidence that you hosted our workshop yesterday, and it was amazing, right? So congratulations for that. You guys did an amazing job.
Thank you.
But since you were there, what is your advice for people? Because people always invite, the audience to, register, watch the workshop. That's the first step. But you hosting the workshop, what is your point of view from the inside?
Exactly that. It really is that the same thing. It's like, um, the, the webinar teaches you, shares with you. I shouldn't say teaches you, shares with you the basics of what we do, and why it's so important and why it is so valuable. Because I honestly believe it. So, you know, that part is very huge. But the other part is I love listening to the people change. You know, how they change their lives. That part is probably my favorite part, because they're genuine. They're real, authentic people from around the world who, as a host, I get to find out what they're doing in real time. And it's a different experience. But for anybody who's watching, and if you know, you're looking for an option, that's why you came here. You're looking for an option as something to change your life. So do it. And don't carry the doubt of, is this, can I really do this? That's your doubt, and you've got, like us, our community, to help support you.
Yes.
So, and the part that I always chuckle over is when you're talking to somebody and they'll say, well, tell me all about it. And it's like, watch the webinar. That's my honest opinion. Watch it,
Yes.
see if that interests you. If it does, we'll talk. But the best part is our 30-day money back guarantee. Like, you have nothing to lose.
Definitely.
And so, rather than sit there and ho hum and go, well, should I watch it? I don't know. How long? I mean, people binge, right? Netflix, TV. I know people who will watch, like, and I can't do it. I honestly can't do it. But like 3 or 4 hours of a binge watching of a series. There's no really value in that other than entertainment. So if you are looking to change, then get off the fence, watch the webinar, take the next step, and we'll see you on the inside.
Definitely, definitely. Oh my god! All of a sudden, I got a cough attack. But
Drink.
Elden, it has been great. I've taken more than the time that I would have wanted to take from you today.
That's
So
okay.
thank
I
you
talk
so
a lot.
much. No, it's great. It's great. We're here for that. But I'm always, self-conscious about your time, and so I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and you know where to find us. And we hope that you find value in our little interview, humble interview, and wish you a great, great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a great evening too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.